Hey, hockey fans! Welcome back to the Oilers Fanatic. Today, I'm going to continue the By Request series. As the title suggests, this series will be made up of video topics requested by you, the fans. In today's video, I'm going to cover off 3 of the topics that were submitted. First up, what would the Oilers roster look like with Jake Debrusk or Tomas Hertl instead of Kailer Yamamoto? This topic was requested by BMax64. For this request, I'll post 3 different Oilers lineups. One with Jake Debrusk, one with Tomas Hertl, and one that features them both. Here is how I would construct the lineup with Jake Debrusk. I would have a top line of Zach Hyman, Connor McDavid, and Jesse Puljujärvi, a second line of Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Leon Draisaitl, and Warren Foegele, a third line of Jake Debrusk, Ryan McLeod, and Zach Kassian, and a fourth line of Tyler Benson, Derek Ryan, and Josh Archibald, with Devin Shore as my extra forward. I think Debrusk would fit in best on the third line, and I'd like to take a look at Foegele in the top 6. Here is how I would construct the lineup with Tomas Hertl. I would have a top line of Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, and Zach Hyman, a second line of Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Tomas Hertl, and Jesse Puljujärvi, a third line of Warren Foegele, Ryan McLeod, and Zach Kassian, and a fourth line of Tyler Benson, Derek Ryan, and Josh Archibald, with Devin Shore as the extra forward. I think Tomas Hertl is too good to be the team's third-line center, and how could I pass up the chance to have Connor and Leon together full-time? I think Nuge, Hertl, Puljujärvi would be worth checking out, and if they didn't work, it's not like you can't move the pieces around. Here's how I would construct the lineup with both Debrusk and Hertl. I would have a top line of Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, and Zach Hyman, a second line of Warren Foegele, Hertl, and Puljujärvi, a third line of Debrusk, Nugent-Hopkins, and Zach Kassian, and a fourth line of Ryan McLeod, Derek Ryan, and Josh Archibald, with Devin Shore as the extra forward. With both Hertl and Debrusk in the mix, I moved Foegele into Nuge's spot in the top 6, and moved Nuge down to the third-line center to create more balance. I also didn't want to push Foegele down to the fourth line. I didn't have a spot for Benson in this lineup. It was interesting looking at the possibilities. Thanks again to BMax64 for the suggestion. Next up, what if the Oilers traded Connor McDavid? What would the trade look like? This topic was requested by Sacha Baysal. This topic basically represents every Oilers fan's worst nightmare. In my opinion, this is a trade you never even consider unless Connor has demanded it. The only player in the league I consider in the same realm as Connor is Nathan MacKinnon. Austin Matthews is excellent, but 1-for-1, no way. I wouldn't do Connor for MacKinnon 1-for-1 either, but the conversation would have to start with him for me. If the trade has any other pieces involved, it's a trade the Oilers are losing badly. But I don't know how you win any trade for Connor. The other team could offer 6 first-round picks. None of them would be better than Connor McDavid. This is just getting too depressing just to even think about. Thanks for the topic, though, Sacha. Next up, list 5 players that I would like to see the Oilers acquire this season. This topic was requested by the Frozen Biscuit. The Frozen Biscuit said I didn't need to keep my picks realistic, but I'll try to keep them in the realm of being realistic. Here are 5 players I would target that I think the Oilers could acquire this season. All the players I have selected have 1 year remaining on their contracts and are candidates to possibly be moved by the trade deadline. At number 1, Phil Kessel. He's coming off a season where he registered 20 goals and 23 assists for 43 points in 56 games. He's still got it, and I'd love to see him in the Oilers' top 6. I would slot the forward lines as follows. A top line of Zach Hyman, Connor McDavid, and Jesse Puljujärvi. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Leon Draisaitl, Phil Kessel on the second line. A third line of Warren Foegele, Ryan McLeod, and Kailer Yamamoto. And a fourth line of Tyler Benson, Derek Ryan, and Josh Archibald. I have Zach Kassian in there as the extra forward. I'm guessing someone on the right side would be going back to Arizona in the deal, but that's roughly what I would go with, not taking into account anyone leaving. At number 2, Rickard Rakell. He recorded 9 goals and 19 assists for 28 points in 52 games last season. Playing with more skilled players should help Rakell return to his old form. I would go with the exact same lineup as my Kessel scenario, just swapping out Kessel for Rakell. At number 3, Andre Palat. 15 goals and 31 assists for 46 points in 55 games, and he's played a role in winning the last 2 Stanley Cups. Of course I'd want him on my team. I would slot Palat on my number 1 line along with Connor and Hyman. The roster as a whole would look like this. A top line of Palat, McDavid, and Hyman. Second line, Nuge, Dry, and Yessi. Third line, Warren Foegele, Ryan McLeod, and Yamo. Fourth line, Tyler Benson, Derek Ryan, and Josh Archibald, with once again Zach Kassian as the extra forward. At number 4, Troy Stecher. A superstar he is not, but Stecher is a reliable right-shot defenseman that could provide extremely valuable depth going into the playoffs. My defense would look like this. Darnell Nurse, Tyson Barrie, top pairing. Duncan Keith, Evan Bouchard, second pairing. Slater Cuckoo, Cody Ceci, third pairing. And Chris Russell and Troy Stecher providing the depth on the left and right side. And at number 5, Thomas Greiss. Another Detroit Red Wing. Greiss won't win you the Stanley Cup on his own, but in a tandem with Mike Smith to close out the year could be the difference. And as I stated earlier for all the players I've selected, he's on an expiring contract, so if the Oilers want to play Skinner or Konovalov the following year, they will be free to do so. Well, that's all, guys. Special thanks again to the Frozen Biscuit for sending in the suggestion. Look for more by request videos in the coming days. What do you guys think? What would your rosters look like? Sound off in the comments below. Enjoying the videos? Please like and subscribe for all the latest Oilers content. You've been listening to The Fanatic. Thanks for being a fan.